You're listening to Super Power Up with multidimensional master, superpower expert, and former counterintelligence agent, Tonya Dawn Recla. If you're ready to disrupt reality, then sit down, strap in, and prepare to experience the show that proves there is no spoon.
Hello, everyone. This is Tonya Dawn Recla, your superpower expert, and I am so excited to have with me today Berny Dohrmann. What a delight. We're going to talk today about, changing the fabric of reality, really changing the world, the concept of changing society through cooperation. And we're not talking like learn how to play nice as kids. Like this concept integrates into oneness, integrates into like, why the hell are we all here? Universal consciousness. This is not a simple kind of concept. It's the most natural thing in the world for us, but it's not normalized for most of us. We're unprogrammed in that regard. So Berny is one of the foremost leading experts in this arena and in this kind of thought application, I would say, and actually how do you do it kind of component, which is the focus of Super Power Up this year. He is the founder of CEO Space International, my opinion, the absolute pinnacle of and the entity that is most responsible for evolution in business across verticals for the last few decades. Really, really, really earth-changing, world-moving type of stuff here, folks. So listen in, get comfortable. We're going to kind of grab all the knowledge that we can out of him while we have him, and you're going to enjoy this one. So Berny, again, well, and I actually need to mention, like, that's just like how good he is on paper and why he's going to influence you. But near and dear to my heart, he will always hold a very, very special place in my heart because he's helped us raise Neva in his community with September, his wife, as the president and CEO of the company. But she really is a product of the CEO space environment. She's inculcated in concepts like cooperation, and it's helped keep her closer to her own version of reality and knowingness about oneness and how we're all here. They all come in pretty well equipped with that, and CEO Space really helps to foster that. So really, really near and dear to my heart. Berny, we love you, and we appreciate you more than words could possibly encapsulate. So thank you for joining us today.
Glad to be here. Glad to serve everybody. Happy New Year. This is going to be your year, your great year. And all the energy shifted, and you should be able to feel it. Forget the news and the politics. It's just going to be great for business and results and having your customers come together for you and everything that you're dreaming of. This is the year to do it.
Oh, well, I second that. And I think I'm already feeling some of the exciting, expansive energy coming out of this year. So it's really exciting. But along those lines, let's jump right in and ask you our pivotal question, which is, what are your superpowers?
Well, I mean, it's hard. You've been brought up with the family. My father started the human potential industry. So, I'm having people stay over in what's called the apartments in our large multi-story home. And in those days, you came by the electric train to the end of the line in Marin County. You came to Mr. Dohrmann, Alan G. Dohrmann's apartments, and you walked down where the staff and household servants and so forth were unpacking you. And you were walking past the pictures of the people that had been in that room before you, like President Jack Kennedy or Martin Luther King or Walt Disney or Napoleon Hill or Earl Nightingale or John Gallagher, the president of PepsiCo, and they're all signed. And I go on and on. But I mean, when you're raised where they're all coming to be around your father, including Werner Erhard, John Hanley of LifeSpring, so Est and the Forum, and the Tom Wilhite of Psi World Seminars, Mike Murphy of Esalen, Clement Stone of Positive Mental Attitude. When your maypoles of mentors, when you're 7, 8, 9, 10, are the thought leaders of the century, your superpowers, what they may be as gifts, are put together a little more than you would have ever thought of until later. Looking back, I got credentials as an investment banker, economist. I only have 2 careers. I ran one of the larger publicly traded brokerage firms like a Smith Barney for a lot of years out of New York and San Francisco and worldwide. And when my dad got cancer, that got sold, and I worked at his corporate training company, leading the world at the time that the graduates of that program became Booz Allen, Accenture, McKinsey, all the big names. And those partners, including Arthur Young partners, have been on founding faculty at CEO Space, helping our Fortune companies right down to a dentist office. So we, my powers are the advice to the CEO of any scale of company, most of my life, Fortune 100 companies, helping them with strategy, helping them with anti-hacking strategies, how to remain current in super change, how to keep up, how to retool culture, how to move cultures like we did from 3M and so many others, from AT&T to Zellerback, from strict competitive systemics into cooperative systemics, and the performance gains became legend. So I'm particularly an architect of reforming for government, nations, and the largest companies more effective, productive cultures around cooperative system dynamics, which are all in my book, Redemption, Cooperation, Revolution. That Redemption, Cooperation, Revolution, 5 stars at Amazon. Always backordered, but they fill up in 72 hours. But I just tell you, that's got all the presidents have quoted from it, the last 5, all the top corporate leaders in the Fortune group have it, and it's influenced. So we're changing the world, in that. And then I'm in.
You are.
From, my human potential from the time it was founded to now, a lot of the thought leaders out there in a poll we just did have put me as the number one. They ranked as the Pope of the human potential industry. For me, it's others. From impossible challenges that they've gone through, health, the crisis, to relationship, especially in the Fortune space, movie stars, athletes. I've been a particular choice for confidentiality, for senators. When they have crisis in their lives, I've been one of the main, like a Tony Robbins, and I coach him, architect of what's next and how to get to that. So we can go on and compress time for negatives so we don't use our precious time. My famous saying is, time is more precious than diamonds. How are you using yours right now? Because if we upgrade that right now, everything in your life changes.
I chuckle because I love the comparison to the Pope. You're such a conundrum to a lot of people. I ever since we met, I kind of categorized you as the catalyst, and I think that people receive from you what they're able to receive from you. And you took on quite a job this lifetime, my dear. Well,
you put a pole in the ground, and the man that started the human potential industry, chose me as his firstborn son. So he grew legacy of continuing that work. And the ribbons of that maypole in the past, I've named already, but my ribbons are Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield and Chicken Soup for the Soul, Sharon Lecter and Rich Dad, Poor Dad, John Gray and Men and Mars. But when, the idea for Men and Mars colliding came out of CEO Space, and we built his relaunch, and it was so successful for John.
Well, now you can add Neva Lee Recla to that list too.
Yeah, Neva, who's superstarring up. But I'm saying, whether it's Zach, who's, our forward teen, just hitting it out of the park. And I've got a coaching call with him later. And so, parents who bring their children to CEO Space, they see cooperative mechanisms for home space and workspace, and they're intolerant. They're like lactose intolerant. They're competition intolerant. They become competition intolerant. And competition intolerant becomes a condition where their young brains recognize competitive approaches as a first form of human insanity. And so if you say, what is heaven? Any concept of that, and that is where we know everything. Of course, we're with God, and we all are one, and we know everything. And it's so much bliss we can't even have words for it down here. And it's the absence of all competitive impulse. There is no competitive thought of any kind. So we are creating the opposite of that, and we can stop by just being aware. That's what awareness is. And understanding that all of the symptoms we've been treating in the awareness movement since Plato and Aristotle's truth, which are still true, are symptoms. And I really believe that my father transformed humanity and awareness itself by bringing in the framework that competition is the only virus on human consciousness and your brain. And all problems in your relationship and parenting are because of that virus. And all problems of your prosperity are because of that virus. And when you start making choices where you don't play anymore, and the competitive virus has been deleted and removed from your supercomputer above your neck, you will transform your future, your home space. You'll have switched on, turned on home space, switched on, turned on parenting, switched on, turned on executions in your prosperity life. And it's just a matter of being that cooperative, virus removal. The Holy Spirit is your removal. And you just become aware. I was taught to be the top shark in the feeding frenzy as a eternal being, which is insane for an eternal being. And I see it's insane. And if you're disposed where you want to project and manifest great evil and beings of evil, just remember there are consequences of the most extreme form of competition. You project and create, but you're not aware of that. And God could never create evil because it would be imperfect and it would not be eternal. God creates what's perfect and eternal. It's kind of like you're in it and you're projecting all this. And you're going to wake up. And so, if you're in that mode, I think redemption, the cooperation revolution, it offends no one religiously. It embraces all religion because the three principles of cooperation are first, recognize.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna jump in here because I want to get into those right after the break. But I do need to take a break really quickly. Before we run to break, I want to make sure that you all know where you can go find out more about Berny Dohrmann at ceospaceinternational.com. And so check him out there. Bernie, is there somewhere else you want to send people also?
I'd really like you to get a free gift of Thought Leader Masters on video. No selling, nothing that is going to cause you to feel like you're being sold. It's a free gift. You go CEOSpaceAmerica/Recla, RECLA. Just CEOSpaceAmerica/Recla. And you'll get
Is it CEOSpaceAmerica.com?
Yeah, and that's Bob Proctor.
/Recla. Okay.
Yeah, these are big thought leaders. Full 90-minute cost. We sell that for $290. You're going to get it free for being a listener. But I want you to go to 3 to 5 people to get the gift and circulate the link so we could have a great product that helps people inside circulate. Let's viral.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And we'll make sure we have the link in there. So look at our webpage for that. But we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to hear what those 3 rules, 3 steps, 3 everything to implement cooperation into your existence. Because as we promised, it's not just about playing nicely together, folks. So we're talking today with Berny Dohrmann about changing society through cooperation. We'll be right back.
Are you here to change the world? Do you talk about things like vibration, frequency, awakening, and consciousness? Are you pretty sure you have superpowers? The Superpower Net is unlike normal coaching programs and conscious communities. We provide training, intuitive guidance, peer-to-peer learning, intensive one-on-one coaching, and a high vibrational network of people just like you. When you join the net, you get 24/7 access to a collaborative group of people who support you as you master your personal power and unlock your superpowers. If you're ready to use your superpowers to change the world, then join the Superpower Net today. Visit superpowerexperts.com/the-net to learn more.
Awesome. We're back. You're listening to the Superpower Up podcast with Tonya Dawn Recla. And today we're talking with Berny Dohrmann, who, if you missed any of the first part of the show, make sure you go back and listen to it, because the single most critical element let's actually, let me take a step back. What we want in our lives, right? We want happiness, we want good relationships, we want business success, we want to feel abundant, we want freedoms, right? Well, cooperation really is a pathway through all of that. And as Bernie was outlining at the beginning of the call, that virus of competition, I love what he talks about being what is it, competitively intolerant or intolerant of competition. It's like such a phenomenal way of viewing what happens when we rewire ourselves to be receptive to things like cooperation and collaboration and synergy and all this fun stuff. But let's take it back to like the root element. Bernie was getting ready to illuminate what are the three elements that you wanted to talk about with regard to cooperation?
Well, first, it's awareness, and it's awareness that the expression of competitive thought impulse itself from the midbrain that was created and hardwired when we were fighting raptors is a form of insanity. So you first understand all competitive thought, there's nothing good about it. It is the expression of the dark or the evil. Evil is competition. That's what it is. Once you're aware, you stop doing it. You can't do it otherwise. Two, what keeps two cooperative beings that are spirits continuing to cooperate? The answer is the crisis that we have in the world. We have a crisis of leadership. We see it in Washington, D.C., and London, and all over. No, we have a crisis of management. No, we've got the best trained leaders, best trained managers, all blinded by competition, of course. And when they remove competition, how do they work together? They work together with the DNA that's required. You will cooperate with me for your whole life. We'll enjoy doing it. I'll cooperate back for you. But we have to be in integrity. The crisis is integrity. The book on that is The New IQ, Integrity, by Dr. David Gruder. You have to have integrity as the super glue to keep your circles of cooperative thinkers who are working on removing competitive expression, thoughts, words, anger, all the different issues. And it's a lifetime situation. And Tony Gill, who first brought this up, and Outwitting the Devil by Ed Anywhere, was released on CEO's Face Stage. And Outwitting the Devil teaches you to build a cooperative community, to build a internal guarding system that guards the community's thinking so competition doesn't get back in. And then the most profound thing that Holy Neil put in Latin in the book and converted it to English, you have to guard the guards. You have to have a circle that's guarded and protected and guard the guard. It is the most important thing you do in life to make sure you keep integrity where it belongs as a spiritual being. And once you have integrity in everything, you can't believe what transforms. And then the final one you already know, of course, is you can't stay there. You can get there, but you can't stay there in your highest form of leadership in this life and enjoy this life fully if you don't have what's called absolute forgiveness. First, you forgive yourself for projecting all this on a screen that's your movie, that you're projecting, and not as your name. That your ego is not what is the eternity of you that's in heaven right now, sleep and dreaming this. You're not that. You're much more than that. And once you tell the ego to go to its room, you tell that little immature sucker, go to your room, because it'll never grow up. It'll always be angry, and it'll always give you reasons not to share your toys. And so I put the final forgiveness. You never have to tell anyone, alive or dead, you forgive them. You have to forgive yourself for projecting that. You made them. You created that movie. You made them up. And you did it. And once you forgive yourself and them for everything, you're back to where you need to be at your highest state, and you stay in cooperation. And you have to go.
I want to repeat that. Folks, this really, really, really bears repeating. Listen to what he just said. You're not forgiving the person. You're not having to do any of that. What it is you're forgiving yourself for projecting them in that manner. That's huge. One, it puts you back in that control place. This is that self-dominion space we talk about all the time, about where you take ownership of everything and you don't get to blame other people and you don't get to point fingers. Well, part of the forgiveness process is also internalizing the forgiveness process for yourself. It's huge. This is not just biblical. It's not just Christian. It's not just any of these things. It's across the board.
Let me put that in the biggest problem that we have in redemption, the cooperation revolution. We call, and it may be 300 years from now, but on the big island of Hawaii, which is aloha and has a feeling in the middle of the planet, we form the United Nations of Religions. And we have a member in the cabinets of all cooperative government as our moral compass for laws. Don't pass that and say, what would a moral compass look like? Ask me later, and I'll give that to you in the show with an example that's this year. But once we have the UNR, the United Nations of Religion, because what do we have now? 29,700 Christian sects, all saying, if you worship Christ this way, you will be saved. And if you worship Christ this way, you can go to hell. My father, in reconciling this at a big conference of all faiths in 1955, put out the famous sentence I love, which is, Christianity, great idea, never been tried. If we just did what he said, is all the things I just told you in the three principles, but we don't do them. All right, so that's one. There's how many Muslim sects? Sunni, Shiite. I've studied the Torah and the Quran for 45 years. I have both in very ancient texts on my phone and study them all the time. And they're so loving, they're so wonderful, and they're all the same. Buddhists, Hindu, they tell us to have a rightful life and to do things by moral principles. Generally, the Ten Commandments and all religions. We have to celebrate through a United Nations of Religion what's the same about all faiths. Celebrate them. Choose the one you want. Don't put the little girl that's 18 years old and gives up us at Islam to death and kill her. That isn't from the God that made love and has nothing but love and is perfect. And so if you want an angry, schizophrenic creator, you're creating that thought. Enjoy it and enjoy that's your reality. And you'll have all the trappings from it. But what I'm saying is celebrate all faiths, and what's different about them is interesting, wonderful, things we can learn from. Choose your faith. If you want to progress through different kinds of faith experiences, move from one to another, or have your own, but have your personal relationship with the source of everything. That's what thought leaders, Muhammad, Christ, everyone from Moses forward told you. Don't have intermediaries. Don't have others. Do social worship as you choose and want, but don't ever put people in judgment and blame, because it's not of God. So when you compete in religion, you are not of God.
And that includes of yourself too, folks. Like when we talk about taking ownership and responsibility, we're not talking about then heaping all that blame on top of yourself. You take ownership and you forgive yourself and you walk through that process. You don't carry, you don't hold on to it, you don't make it question who you are, right? Remember who you are and go through the process.
I wish the top Hindus and the top Buddhists and the top of Christianity and all sects, including the Pope, led by the Pope and all the mullahs, came together in Hawaii and formed the United Nations of Religion for moral policy. And let me give you an example of moral policy. Right now, there's a proposal to take $20 billion, and I'm an investment banker economist, so I just can't tell you how much $20 billion is worth. And I'm saying it's a great idea and it's a great cause for humanity, but why don't we do it later? And the reason is, if you have an ocean of $20 billion, why don't we put that to work for food security? For the 1 billion that will die this year in 2019. We have enough food. There's plenty of food. But we don't have an economic way to distribute it to those who need it. Why don't we use a part of the 20 billion so everybody doesn't die this year, all 1 billioners? Why don't we use the rest for climate change? Why don't we build solar floating devices that are taking the carbon dioxide out of the air and putting the oxygen back in the air, and say, can you do that, including the water? Yeah, go to Superwater, HYOX, Superwater, HY for hydrogen, OX.com. Order your case for what you pay for water and drink water that has 3 times the oxygen in it, and watch what happens. Only water we drink in our house with our children. And the health benefits are off the chart. It's coming to Walmart, but it'll take a bit before it's out there. But I've started ordering those cases, never run out. What it'll do for your stamina, your health, your sleep patterns. Gentlemen, your libido, you will not need the blue pill. Be careful.
Well, I want to draw this back as we're coming to a close here. So for those of you who, obviously there are personal benefits and relationship benefits and all these other things when we talk about cooperation, what is important is the concept of what that does in your business as well, right? And so if you are part of our tribe, then you get that there is a connection between living in our fullest and being this here and how we structure businesses and how we move through the world and all these other things. Certain aspects cannot stand in these higher frequencies. Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, here's an example. Mark Zuckerberg, going so fast, has not got to be a disciple of redemption, the cooperation revolution. Jeff Bezos was. So Jeff Bezos has cooperative architecture. Everybody at Amazon thinks like owners. Everybody that has a good idea to help the customer at Amazon can go over the vice president, over the senior vice president. No reciprocity. They can go to Jeff Bezos, open door. I have a better idea. They've been rejecting me 3 times. And when I reject you too, I will reward you if you keep going till you get it in, because that good idea is important for the clients, even if we don't see it, because you're in the trenches. At Facebook, there's front page news all over the world right now from them, from their employees, saying they have this whole training that we have to be munchkins and we have to sing, follow the yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick road. We're off to see the wizard, the Mark and Zuckerberg Wizard of Oz. And if we ever say we should do this for privacy, we should do this better, we shouldn't have sexual harassment, then we're not in a safe spot. There is reciprocity because it's a competitive, pyramidal management structure of accountability versus a hub where the hub facilitates its own spokes in 157 division of Amazon to get outer wheel momentum. Whether Jeff is going to space against Musk and my good friend Branson, I just wrote today to his advisor he's putting his pictures of his yacht out. I'm saying, make sure I get invited. I want to be on that yacht. Those suites are pretty good, Mr. Branson. But I'm saying you build cooperative companies like he did at, Virgin. And he said, it's the brand, Virgin Airlines, Virgin Galactica, Virgin everything. But they're switched on. They're switched on at the counter, on the planes, every place, even though he sold that. But the culture is fantastic. When you have hub management, cooperative management, you move to it like we did with 3M. They go up the ladder on the fortune. They make their earnings in the worst recessions when nobody else does. The cooperation aspect keeps them reinventing, and they're current in Super Change, my new book coming out in October. You can go to Amazon, look at my books. They're great for you. Or see a film on CEO Space International or CEO Space America /Recla, RECLA, and get a free gift. If you want to explore CEO Space, go to CEO Space America and ask Dr. Richard K. He's been with us 21 years. He will not sell you. He'll tell you. He'll custom match your CEO or management group or your individual entrepreneur self or professional self into how to make profits using CEO Space as the cultural cooperation-based entity in the world. So we are sending out leaders that are cooperation masters to businesses in 150 countries in 30 years, ranked #1 in the world 5 years in a row through 2018, #1 business conference for 150 countries, CEO community, and Forbes magazine, Inc. magazine say you cannot afford to miss CEO space if you're at the helm of a Fortune silo or a dentist's office, or you're the owner of your own enterprise you want to hyper. So check that out, ceospaceinternational.com, ceospaceamerica.com. And if you want to follow up, click at CEO Space America.
I'm so glad you touched on that, because I really do believe, folks, we hear all the time, you want to change the world, you want to change the world, you want to change the world. Well, that requires building, it requires convergence, it requires beingness, it requires all of that. And CEO Space really has cracked the code on how to do that in alignment with some of these higher frequencies and higher vibrations that all of us are working to continually exist in. And they actually have the secret sauce and the support there for you as you build businesses that rest on those principles. Yes, sir.
My 30 seconds is, this is an important Awake series of events. Some of the most important thought leadership in the world are interviewed and put to the world on this broadcast. I'm asking all of you, if you're benefited, if this lifts you, if this helps you, if this grows you, send it to 10 people over 10 days and ask them to become faithful to watching this. Give your highest endorsement. Go to your list. All of you, if you all go and get 10 done in 10 days, we're going to rocket this to 1 million. So when you hear this and you're sharing my link and you're putting this out saying you've got to listen to it, let's all make sure 10 go. I'm going to bring it to a huge number in our grad base in 150 countries right away. I'm going to help this wonderful outreach where I want Tonya Dawn Recla to get her message with these thought leaders to over 1 million people this year. And it moves her to a television show and moves Viva up as well. Let's all do that. If you're benefiting and you're feeling it inside, you've got that little orb of light that's the real you glowing bright right now, and I want it to. This is your year. Let's make it and give back to Tonya, make it her year. And only we can do that. And we do it by going to your 10 in 10 days. Now, a lot of you can do a lot more, but when you go to your list, really put your highest endorsement, say, you make a bookmark, a favorite, be back at this time and listen to this, because, you can do it on your schedule, not ours. So I call for that action. Let's get this body of work that will help all of us when we're doing emails, play it in the background, put mind food into your software, upgrade the computer above your neck first with tools and tactics, and you'll change your income, you'll change your life. If you keep listening to this and you do your 10 and they do their 10 and they do their 10, you will double your income and you will maximize your time off. And you can't do that without these tools and these tactics. And I'm Berny Dohrmann, and I so approve this message. That's all I have.
Well, I think that's a perfect ending. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your wisdom, and just how much I appreciate your existence in the world, and really honor the work that you do and what you've persevered through to stand for all of us in that space. Thank you. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. And let's do another one that's only on business, to give them tools and tactics for this year that we can do in the spring as we start springing forward and all the snows melt. I don't want them to miss how good this year's going to be. So let's get tools and tactics out there later, and we'll do another show that's all tools and tactics.
I love it. You read my mind. Well, thank you, sir, so much. And to all of you out there, as always, we appreciate your loyalty. And until next time, go out, uncover your superpowers, and change the world. Take care, everyone.
Are you ready to discover your superpowers? Go now to superpowerexperts.com and take the superpower quiz today.